building spirituality, family, health, and business. This is the Giant Builders with Lois Wyant.
Happy Tuesday, Giant Builders. I am here with one of my mentors and a product of his that I use very regularly. And this is John Limbocker. Welcome, John, and glad to have you here.
Oh, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So you have a product called SitePop, and can you share with us how you came about developing this?
Sure. I've been in the search engine optimization space back since before we even knew what to call it. And it's definitely an evolving world for sure. And back in about 2010, things started making a shift and nobody knew what was going on. And I kind of figured out it was Google using AI, artificial intelligence. And it's not the kind of artificial intelligence that's the scary thing, that like the sci-fi movies and all that. They're looking at user behavior. And it's really brilliant on their part to have done this because there was so many people out there that were gaming the system and putting up junk. As searchers, we don't want junk. We want good stuff. So all they had to go on before was how many people would link to something, and it was kind of like a popularity contest. And that was an easy game to win for somebody that knew how to build links. So the game got really unfair and it was dominated by people that were junking it up. So Google made their move. And they went to, instead of looking at links for popularity, they went to looking at actual user behavior. And what that means is like how many people would click through to a particular site, how they would stay on the site. If they bounced off, that was a pretty good sign to Google. The visitor didn't get what they wanted, and they shouldn't be sending a lot of traffic that way. So, like I said, it was absolutely brilliant on their part, but when there's good, there's always the bad that comes along with it. And the bad was it was really unfair to the little guys. So small business owners, because one of the signals that Google picked up on, and it's machine learning, learned what was important. And all the signals that it was learning from was saying that big brands are important. So unless you were a big brand, you didn't have much of a chance to get your site to the top. So like I said, incredibly unfair to the small business owner. And I'm kind of, a freedom fighter for the underdog. So I went to work and figured out, how do we fix this? So we just kind of built a machine to level the playing field. So what SitePop does is it actually sends those signals to show Google that your brand matters and that they should pay attention to you. So in very simplistic terms, that's kind of what we're doing. Because you probably know as well as anybody, being a small business owner, that referrals are the lifeblood of your business, right? Most of our businesses were built on the back of referrals. And that was another thing that has changed by the internet, not necessarily Google, but Google's at the core of the change, was the way people ask for referrals, or ask for information. We used to talk to our neighbors. Well, when was the last time you went out to the fence and asked your neighbor where to get something, right? It's probably been a long time ago. What we do now is we go and we ask Google, or we ask Siri, or whatever. We ask our computer or our phone, who's the best photographer in town, or who services pools, or whatever it might be. Where do I get my car serviced? And Google now has become the biggest referral source in the world. So if they're not sending you referrals, your business is probably suffering. So that's why it's so important that we level the playing field and let the little guys play and move those big guys out of our way. So hopefully that was kind of a long-winded explanation, but
No, that's great. So walk me through the process is how somebody uses this program.
Okay. So when we sign up a customer, what they do is they install our app on either their phone or they can put it on their computer. And then their phone or computer actually becomes part of our network. And we have over 10,000 of these phones, we call them devices, out in our network. And our central server sends out the jobs to each one of the phones or the devices and says, run a search for this particular keyword, look for this website. If you didn't, this is really important. If you don't find the website within the first couple of pages, bounce back and revise the search to add the little guy's brand name to it. And that's where Google is picking up the brand names. So now all of a sudden, normally nobody knows your name, right? They don't know your brand. They're just looking for something that you offer, but they don't know who you are. When they do know a brand, it's usually a big brand. So what the machine is doing is it's putting your brand in conjunction with your keyword, telling Google this little guy is important, people know about. So they're much more likely to push your site up to the top. Now, there's a lot more to search engine optimization than just that. That's just one piece of it. And back to the whole thing about not wanting junk sites at the top of Google. If, let's say you use SitePop and it works for you and it puts your site at the top, now real users are going to start clicking through. If your site is not good, the real users are going to send bad signals and it's going to negate what we did for you. So you want to make sure you don't try and promote junk sites. I mean, you should always create great content. You know, think about your customer. What does your customer want? What do they like? What do they need? What's going to be helpful to them? So when they do click on your site, they stay and they get a good user experience. And that transfers over to Google and they'll figure it out. Hey, this is a quality site. We should send more people to it. Because Google has a very strong sense of FOMO. It has that fear of missing out. If there's a good site out there, it wants to be the source to send you to it. It doesn't want you to find it through someone else. So they want to be the end all be all of search. So if you understand that and you play along with their rules and you give them what they want to provide a good user experience. So we just give you kind of the fake it till you make it part up front, but then it's up to you to really come through and provide that good quality content for your customers.
Yeah, we always emphasize following the rules because you don't want to get kicked out because you're just trying to skip something that's important to Google and they own the big play field. So we want to play to their rules.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
SitePop also works with YouTube, correct?
Yes, we discovered after using it for Google, the next thing people started asking me was for Bing. And we thought, well, we don't know, but let's test it. And we found out it absolutely worked the same on Bing. And if your audience is female, if it's like the normal household female, they're on Bing a lot of times. Because what happens when a man buys a computer, he has to mess with everything. And when a woman buys a computer, she's much more accepting of the way things are. She plugs it in and hits the search button and the default search is Bing. So if your audience is female, that's a little tip that you should be concerned with Bing. Not to say that Google's not to be concerned with, because it's huge, but Bing is good for female audiences. And then you had mentioned YouTube. We also tested it on YouTube and it worked on YouTube. And then we took it a step further. We tested it on Amazon and it works on Amazon as well. So pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we just released a version for the Amazon users. Yeah, it's really cool stuff. I don't know where we're going to go from here, but just keep on going.
So after saying that, I really can't think of any business that would not benefit from it.
No, I mean, if you're in business, traffic and flow of leads is your lifeblood. Getting referrals or getting leads and nurturing those into customers, that's any business. I can't think of any business that doesn't work off of the flow of traffic, leads, sales, and long-term customers. That's business. I mean, that's the definition of business.
Is there
So that's like saying, who doesn't want more traffic, leads, sales, and customers?
right? Is there a certain like preferred amount of devices to attach to the program?
Well, what we can do, it's all a numbers game. It's based on the number of devices in the network. Each device does about 17 searches per day. So the way that breaks down is each device connected to the network provides about 250 searches into the network. So for anyone that's got a connected device, we can give them back about 250 searches a month. What we have found just on average for small businesses is 2 devices getting you 500 searches a month is about the sweet spot. Now, obviously, there's some that are more competitive and they might need more, but if you've got 2, that usually does it for most businesses, most small businesses anyway, that are not real high competition.
So if a business has multiple locations, but just
Uh-huh,
one website,
uh-huh.
should they be connecting each location? I mean, how would that work as far as the devices, would they be
Okay,
to like say they have a Kansas page and a Kansas City whatever other page, would they
sure.
connect the device to both of
They
them?
they all kind of tie together. It's the authority of the main website that is most important. So what we typically do when you set up a project, you put in the address of the business. And what our system does, it looks for the devices that are closest to that, and it gets the most searches from there, and then it moves out. So it will favor the one that's in there most. But you can also add multiple projects. So let's say you had 3 different locations. You could pick a set of keywords for each location and have a different project for each one. So you could definitely do that and hit all 3 if you wanted to. But keep in mind, all the searches are going to be going back to the main website, so you don't want to overdo it. So maybe if you had 3 locations, maybe set up 3 projects and connect 1 device to each one. So you'd be getting like 250 searches for each location.
Okay.
That way you keep it, within reason. You don't ever want to overdo anything to do with SEO.
Yeah, we're going back to
But
the don't break the rules.
you got to keep things natural, keep them reasonable, and you'll be fine.
Oh, great. All right. Well, we're going to have a link below to the actual program. It's called SitePop. Any closing comments?
No, I think, if referrals are important to your business, this should be equally as important.
And I think the program works wonderfully. We've been using it for a couple of years and it really makes a difference. So I really
Cool.
appreciate you sharing in your time and just hope that you keep adding new things to it.
Yeah, I've been in the game since it began, and I'm always on top of it.
All right. Well, thank you, Giant Builders. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Thank you for listening. This has been The Giant Builders with Lois Wyant.